Hey, it's your boy Ron Big Black Garrett. Just wanted to give you another update. As you can see, I look a little bit better. I was able to cut my hair today finally. Still in a lot of pain. Trust me on that. I'm trying to wean myself off these pain medications. I don't really like taking any kind of drugs. But for the first time that I've ever had a procedure done, I actually took the pain medication up until almost till it's about gone. And that's how real this thing was. But I'm healing along pretty nicely. Like I said, I was able to take my first shower in about 4 or 5 days, and that was a struggle in itself because I'm one of these people that will sometimes shower twice a day because I got that strong testosterone, so I have to keep myself clean and smelling good. But I know my wife's probably real happy right now because she's had to be in there with me for this long. But everything's going good, man. I feel your prayers. I want to thank you so much for all the prayers and all of the comments and all of these other things that people have been doing for me. During this time, I've talked to a few people about their ketogenic journey and about a couple of other issues. So let me elaborate on a couple of those things. Number one, hey, you're not done. And keto is not like any other program or diet or anything like that. Keto is a way of life. So if you fall off the wagon, just get back on the wagon, but don't make excuses. Do what you need to do to be successful. Set yourself for success. I always start everyone off with a food list and then a basic description, normally from Keto Evangelist, of what the ketogenic diet truly is. And basically, if you eat the foods, everything else is pretty much going to take care of itself because you'll find out that unlike other diets to where you'll want to overeat, if you're doing the ketogenic diet right, you're going to actually be worried about not eating enough because your body's going to start burning its own body fat. And your body will tell you when you need food. And so let's make sure that we understand that we're not making excuses. I'm not making excuses for anyone. But it's time for you to get back on that horse and start riding that horse again because you can do it. Second thing is I've had a couple of people that's been really worried about stalls and weight losses. Hey, I've told numerous people I've been in almost a 4-month stall. Now, I'm sure some of that has had to do with this hernia thing because after I had the surgery, I guess they may have removed about 10 pounds from me. So some of that was probably attributed to that, but still, even then, I've still been in a stall, and that's okay. This is a way of life. I do this to mitigate my diabetes. As long as my HbA1c stays in check and all of my other health markers, my triglycerides, hey, they rock at 58. HDL and LDL are up a little bit, but if you know what I know, you know that's a good thing. Quit letting these doctors tell you that the HDL and LDL, there's no such thing as a bad cholesterol. You need to cut that mess out. It is a gimmick and a thought process that's been developed by the pharmaceutical industry to sell drugs. There's no indication or no in any study that indicates that there's a higher cause for total mortality if your LDL is higher than it is lower. As a matter of fact, the studies that I look into that have been verified and with non-profit and all these other things, they actually indicate that the higher your LDL is, the more protective your heart is. So, go look into some of those things. Go look into I just heard an awesome talk by Dr. Nadir Ali on Jimmy Moore's podcast, and then I actually went out on YouTube because I wanted to expand further about it. But your artery, everything that you do is made and protected by cholesterol. So why would God make something that is going to kill you that protects you? It acts as a protective agent. So go out and check some of those things out. Look, whoever comes on my timeline with anything about cholesterol, I just automatically boo you and send you off to the side because I don't want to hear anything about that. You're regurgitating what you've been taught, and what you've been taught has been faulty science. So you continue to live by that. You probably won't live long, though, if you continue to live by that deal. And all you're doing is giving the pharmaceutical companies money. Now, having said that, there are some cases in which statins actually help. But those are like so few and far between, and they're not even really specific for cholesterol. There are actually there's other conditions that they actually help in. Lowering the cholesterol is really not the one that they're concerned with on those issues. That's a whole different topic. We'll get onto that some other time. But so I don't want to hear any more about this cholesterol. You guys go and do your research. Go and look at what the ADA says and all of these other entities says, and then go and check out Dr. Nadir Ali, Gary Fettke, Ivor Cummins, all of these other people who have actually done research and into the true science. And they're not funded by government entities. They're not funded by big pharma, big food, big sugar, big grain. They're not funded by all these entities, so they have no horse in the race except for to find out what the truth is. They are true scientists. And what's funny is a lot of them are not even scientists, they're engineers. Engineers look for solutions to problems. That's what I love about what's happening in the medical community today. So many of our answers are coming from non-medical professionals because they know that when they went in for issues and things, they're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Cholesterol is a healing agent in the body. Let me go out and investigate this. So these non-medical people are the ones that are actually figuring out, because doctors get so regimented. And Dr. Ken Berry is a perfect example of telling you why and how you need to be careful when it comes to your doctors, because doctors can be so regimented, so by the book. They have to be. Look, I am not knocking doctors. Doctors have to be. They can lose their license and their livelihoods. But having said that, they also took that Hippocratic oath to do the best for their patients. And in many cases, their Hippocratic oath is in conflict with what they're being told to do by these licensing boards. And that's why people like Dr. Ken Berry doesn't give a rip. He'll fight them. He'll do whatever he got to do. Professor Tim Noakes, Gary Fettke, all these people around the world are actually fighting these entities. And what's happening is they're winning because social media is actually an avenue for people to understand and see these fights. When you try to tell a person that's 300, 400 pounds that they can't lose weight except for eating carbs and sugar, then they don't do it. And then they look across the street and their neighbors lost 70 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds. Then they start doing it. You're never going to be able to tell them that going back to that high carb way of life is the way to go. It's like me. Before I became a Christian, I disliked Christians, couldn't stand Christians, hated the way they act, the way they move, and a lot of it, trust me, is for reason, because so many Christians out there are faux Christians. They're not real Christians. And when I say that, I'm not trying to slander anybody. It is what it is. When I became a Christian, there's no way you could ever get me to go back to the life that I lived before. Are there characteristics that I show from time to time from that life? Yeah, sure. If you walk through a dust storm, you're going to get dust on you, and it's going to take a while sometimes to get that dust off of you. So, but as long as I continue to shower myself in the blood of Jesus, I become more and more pure every day. Well, the same thing to be said about when you're trying to lose weight and do all these other things. Quit messing around with the nonsense that hasn't worked and try something that will. I keep trying to tell people my blood work is as good at 51 years old and suffering from a flipping hernia for the last 8 months. My blood work was still better than it's been since I was in my early 30s. In some cases, some of it, like my cholesterol and all that, is better than it was when I was in my 20s, And I get to eat steak and eggs and bacon and cheese and all of these are good things. And you're sitting up there eating grass. You go ahead and munch on, little cow. I'm going to continue to eat cows and eat whatever I want to eat. I'm going to continue to be healthy. And one other thing, for all you that had inquired, this is the quickest that I feel like after something major being cut on, my body is healed. And I'm still in a lot of pain, don't get me wrong. But I feel like I'm a week ahead of schedule where I normally would be. The last time I had any kind of cutting on my body, it took me an extra week and a half longer than where I'm at now, according to what I see. Now, it could be me just being me, but I've noticed that everything that I've had issues with have been healed faster with keto and prayer. Make sure we understand that keto was brought to me by God through prayer. So don't get it twisted. Don't think that keto is my God. Keto is not my God. Keto is a tool that God has given me to be able to do what I need to do. Hey, I love you. Didn't mean to ramble on, but I'm going to do it anyway. I love you. God bless you. Peace.